r/confession stories. I am homeless and bumped into my boss and his family at a popular camping spot, so I lied and said I was on a camping trip. My 19 male mom is a drug alcohol addict and has been abusive for a very long time. I don't remember exactly when it started, but my dad died when I was 13. She rages all the time, especially when she is drunk high, which happens all the time. I would try to stay out of her way, but she would always find a reason to get mad. She would get extra angry when I did not want to give her money. I got a job after high school so I could help with bills and food, but she also wanted me to fund her addictions. I did not want to because I did not want to enable her. She would also have a different guy over almost every day. This weekend she was on one of her rages and her guy of the day was also there. They were both obviously very high and kept shouting at me and trashing my room because I said I did not have any money. They ended up kicking me out and I did not even fight. It only dawned upon me afterwards that I was screwed. I am introverted and never really had friends, so I ended up deciding to spend the money I had left from my last check on camping gear because it would not be enough for a motel. I convinced myself that this is one big adventure and I would try be as positive as I can. I went to a popular camping spot because I felt it would be safer, and what do you know? I bumped into my boss and his family. He is a very professional and scary guy at work, but he was so nice. He introduced me and even invited me to have dinner with him. I obviously agreed because at this point I was starving, and they even let me charge my phone so that my mom does not worry. I had a really good time with them, and when they left they offered to drive me home, but I refused, saying my mom would pick me up. It was pretty hard seeing a normal family and how they interacted with each other. I am not ashamed to admit that I cried after they left. I will however be grateful that at least I have a job and I will show up every day no matter what. Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. I slept with my ex-girlfriend's friend and I feel zero shame about it and actually feel good about it. Okay, maybe a minuscule amount of shame that I made an alternate account, coupled with the fact that my ex knows my main Reddit account anyway. My ex-girl Chloe and I split up about 3.5 weeks ago. It was quite eventful. We got together in July 2020, when UK COVID restrictions were semi-lifted until December 2020. At the time it was good. When we split up, it wasn't good at all. It wasn't until about 4 weeks ago I came across some random post and link on here, followed it and realized that Chloe had been manipulating me through our relationship. Chloe had made me sever the relationship of 2 friends that I had since childhood. First one was a guy called Mike who I'd been friends with since we were both 6 years old. Mike and Chloe are all 21 years old. This was June 2021. Mike is very single and had been speaking to about 3 girls on Tinder. I jokingly mentioned it to Chloe, who put on crocodile tears about how it might affect her because she had a friend whose ex cheated on her via Tinder. I told her that he was single and that he could do what he wants. Chloe decided to use emotional blackmail on me. She blackmailed me with a stupid thing what I confided with her on my uni freshers week, when I was 18, 2 years before me and Chloe even met. The second was a girl called Rebecca. She lived 5 doors down from me and was born the day before me. Both mine and Rebecca's mothers have been very good friends for decades too. Rebecca is a girl who is into other girls. Didn't stop Chloe losing her complete head at me when Rebecca said hello to me in the middle of the supermarket. That article on manipulation I mentioned above, I'd read that genuinely the morning of this incident, and it made me realize that I might have been manipulated. Chloe had played the victim and tried to emotionally blackmail me in situations that she need not worry about, in situations that happened before we met. It would pan that way too about general tiffs 2 people in relationships occasionally get into. This would also be followed by that I was too sensitive and couldn't take a joke. Her idea of a joke was shouting until she had a sore throat and occasionally kicking a door. Or she would be magically coming down with something when something didn't go Chloe's way. Mentioned it to her in an argument. 4 days later our 13-month relationship had came to a sudden end last week. I had an assessment center for a job I'd applied to. The job was in Birmingham, where I and everybody else mentioned lives, but the assessment center was in Leeds. I had gotten back into BOM quite late on and sat in a Spoons waiting for when it was time to get to Moore Street for my train back home, where I'd seen Chloe's longtime friend Natasha. Natasha and Chloe had had a falling out before myself and Chloe split up. Long story short, literally the next night we slept together and it was great. Chloe had hit Natasha and I where it hurt, so I and Natasha decided to haunt Chloe where it hurt. I know there's guilt that normally get felt by this, but honestly I feel zero guilt and me and Natasha are getting on just alright. Sorry I rambled quite a bit about this, just wanted to mention it to somebody that didn't know either of us. Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. I get a little thrill of excitement when I read a story about an anti-vaxxer, COVID denier taken out by the virus, and I'm having an existential crisis over it. The sheer stupidity of people falling into conspiracy echo chambers online and believing insane rhetoric about the pandemic or bioweapon jabs has turned me from someone that felt genuine compassion for gullible, ignorant people dying from Darwinism to someone that is frankly grateful that the gene pool is being skimmed of these selfish, entitled whiners. If they insist on believing a piece of cloth is akin to a gas chamber, they have forfeited their right to my compassion. I hate that my attitudes have changed this way, but if someone insists on wearing all black and standing on a freeway at midnight because MARITES, why would I feel sorry for them? Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. My boyfriend raped me. I've been together with him since January 2021. He treats me very well and loves me. We have a really good relationship. A month ago we went to a different city so that he could buy LSD and we could go shopping. We had some leftover time till our train came and went to a nearby park that has a lot of bushes to look at the sunset. I sat in his lap and he got horny. I guess I was too kinda. He asked me if I wanted him to finger me and I said no. He asked me if I wanted to jerk him off and I said no. After that we chilled for a moment and I was looking at the sun. Suddenly he pushes my head to suck him. He kept holding my head and I was just shocked and he kept pushing my head down. I have a gag reflex and I started gagging, but I guess he liked that. He finally let go of my head and I said I didn't want that and he just started laughing because I gagged. I started to tear up and he hugged me and asked what's wrong. I told him that what he did to me is considered rape. He kept saying sorry and I was just silent. We had to leave for the train and I was just quiet. He kept saying sorry and explained that he was just really horny and didn't realize that I didn't want to give a blowjob. I forgave him, but I was still mad at him. A day later I told my friend about it but didn't tell her it was my boyfriend. I'm still scared of him, but I'm doing better and we are still together. I just feel like telling someone this since I'm too scared to tell my friends or a therapist since I'm still under 18. Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. He's fallen in love again. Through graduate school, I was dating, what I thought, a pretty great guy. We got together after I had pined after him for a year, as he was in a relationship then. We were mostly long distance as his career took him all over the world, and I was still studying. The kicker was that he came from a very conservative class-conscious family. We had different family backgrounds, religions, and castes. This didn't matter to us one whit. The snit came when we told our families about our intent to get married. His family created an emotional drama but put intense pressure on him to break up with me. Through that I gave him an out at different points because while I loved him, I could see him getting depressed as his family told him they'd be dead to him if he married me. His mother somehow found my office desk number, she called the board line and asked for me, and then started pleading with me to break up with him. Same goes for his aunt, his sister, they called me and begged me to break up with him. I always told them what I told him, your son is an adult, he can take his own decisions. Please speak with him directly. The breakup was shattering. My family traveled 4 hours to meet his. 10 people in a room, and 5 of them dissuading us. My family told his that they'd support me no matter what. We sat side by side on a couch as I kept asserting that we were convinced, we wanted to get married. We go out on the balcony and he turns to me and apologizes, says he can't do this anymore. He is breaking up with me. I slapped him and walked out of that room with my head held high. He tried to get me back multiple times after that. I was broken. I couldn't trust myself, much less anyone else. I met someone through a matchmaking process. It was awesome, we fell in love and built a strong relationship. We got married this year. My ex-boyfriend and I text each other occasionally. Just to update on good things and news. Yesterday he told me he's in love with someone again. The catch is that she is again not from a background his family would accept. But due to all the drama that's happened, his family is reconsidering their beliefs and may not cut him off this time. Man, I felt like slapping him for a moment. But then I found myself surprisingly chilled out with this. My in-laws love me, and my husband and I love each other so damn much. I'm happy not to be in that toxic sludge fest where emotional blackmail passes for love. But hey, good luck to him and her. Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. Suicide hotline. Last night, after countless dark thought loops and contemplating suicide, I finally tried to call a suicide hotline. I waited around 5 minutes and then got connected and told her I was thinking about taking my own life. She then startled me by telling me to stay on the line and telling me my call was being traced. I immediately hang up and somehow end up falling asleep with my thoughts. I wake up the next morning and proceed to go to work and everything seems normal. I work for around an hour and my boss tells my manager about how the cops traced my number and need to see me in person. I get called out the front and 3 police officers come around the corner and treat me like a fucking child in front of my boss, telling me I did the right thing about calling the hotline. Now everyone knows this about me. I'm that guy. I see why no one rings these stupid hotlines, because it just fucks everything up even more. I'm 17 and have to face everyone I know as a suicidal teen. I can't fucking do it. Don't call for help. No one knows how to fix you. Now for the top comments. I don't usually add comments for confession stories, but I felt this was necessary. I can't do anything about the cops and the hotline. I can tell you some low-budget ways to get professional grade counseling. If there's a college or university that has a postgraduate psych program in your area, they will often have a counseling clinic. It will be run by the postgrad students under supervision of the instructors. University of the Cumberlands has one, for example. Also, Catholic Social Services has real counseling by professionals in many areas. Fees are based on income and are on a sliding scale. They offer family counseling, regular counseling, marriage counseling, financial counseling, and others. My family has used their services. You don't have to be Catholic. Dot. 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 Now for the next story. I don't know what's real and fake anymore. I think I'm a pathological liar. After having it pointed out, I've started recognizing that I make things up to feel more interesting. I've lied about many horrible things and have done horrible things. I don't feel in control over any of it. It feels like I'm trapped inside myself, screaming and setting off alarms in my head as the rest of me goes about these compulsive behaviors. I have a therapist, but she judges me about everything I tell her, and I can't imagine she'd be too helpful about this. The things I do make up feel real too. I have to really try to think in a critical mindset to differentiate reality from things I've fabricated. I've started taking accountability and really trying to think before I speak. Some days are worse than others. Overall, it hasn't become too effective, especially since I was taken off of mood stabilizers. I really do hate being this way. It makes me so sad to do so many things that are against everything I believe in. I sometimes get so depressed over it I can barely leave my bed. I know I'm a bad person. I don't need to be reminded. If you're going to be an asshole, there's no need. Now for the top comments. Dot. 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 Well, that's all for the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, have an amazing day.